Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today I have some great news. We finally are getting a bunch of new content for Once Human. So if you've been playing, you probably know about this. If you haven't played for a while, then this is definitely a great time to jump back in. So let's just jump into like all the new stuff. So we started off last month. We got the mobile release, which was pretty interesting. It was nice. They're giving away like a ton of stuff if you log into the game. They're doing like these daily login things, and I think they accumulate over time. So you can jump in and you can basically get a ton of free stuff. I think they said it's like 1,100 different items that you can get. So definitely worth jumping in for that, you know, even if you just want to check it out. The other thing that just happened is the Lunar Oracle, which we had. One of the Visional Wheels has finally ended, and now we have a new one. So the new one is called Starfall Invasion, and it's got some really cool gravity gameplay where you can kind of like jump up really high and do different things throughout the scenario. So that is pretty cool. Now I haven't really tried that because we got 2 new scenarios that are in early access, and this is great. So when they were talking about the roadmap, they said, hey, we're gonna give you some new scenarios, and they were coming out in the summer, and they would allow us to have early access. So they came through with that promise, and we're actually getting early access. So I'm excited to announce that we got a new PvP one called Raid Zone, which is really cool, and we'll discuss a little bit about that. And then we also got Endless Dreams, which is a new PvE scenario, and let me tell you, it is tough. So the hard mode that they got rid of, they kind of revitalized it with this one. So we'll jump into it right here. You can see, so I have a character in the Raid Zone for PvP. I've got a character in the Dream Zone. I've got some characters on the Starfall Invasions. So this is still the Manibus server. And essentially these 2 are already finished for the season, and they've actually done where if you're on a server and the server ends after 6 weeks or whatever it is, they will go into a permanent. So I don't ever have to pull my characters off of this. They'll just keep merging. So for those that want it permanent servers, they also have that. So if you're on a server and you want to join one of these new ones like the Raid Zone or Endless Dreams, all you have to do is, if you're in the middle of your scenario, you can go in and you can use an exit early card, and then once you exit, you'll have the ability to sign up for one of the 2. Now if your scenario is already finished, when you go to log into the next scenario, you can then choose them. So that's basically how you get into these, and you can see they have a bunch of servers open. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the Raid Zone PvP. So I already have a character in here, so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter game. So this right here is something that's really cool. So in order to make things fair, they have it set up so that there is no items that can be brought in or out. Now that also means blueprints. So you can see I don't have any blueprints here, but whatever you start with. And this was one of the things where a lot of people in PvP, they were like, oh, we're going to come in, we're going to have these people that have been playing since the beginning, and they're already like got 6-star weapons and all the best mods and stuff like that. Well, you don't have to worry about that for this. So this is all out. If you want to think like Conan or Rust, essentially you drop in and it just randomly places you in places. If you hit M, you notice there's no towns here on the map. There's no teleportation. You can build up to 3 different homes, and then just like those games as well, if you go into like the details for the terminal, you can go in here and you add, like, it looks like you add just wood, and that'll keep it alive for like another 24 hours. So you got to keep feeding it, or it'll eventually crumble down and then it'll get destroyed. Now this game, this is very short, so I think these are only like 10 days long. The first phase is only like 2 days, maybe 3. The second phase is like 7 days, and then at the end, that's when you leave out of there. They do have it set up for building damage, so that's between 12 a.m. and 12 p.m., there is basically raiding turned off. And if you're wondering, because a lot of people on the server were wondering, I think most of the servers in the US are Pacific time. So for me, when I'm recording this video, it's still 2 o'clock. So at 3 o'clock Eastern is when the raiding will be turned on. Now, I do not think there's any raiding on the first phase. So if I'm wrong about that, let me know down in the comments. But once phase 2 happens, that's when everything goes. Now, just some things to note. You start off at level 50, which is great. PvPers don't like to have to worry about leveling up, so you won't have to level up. You jump straight into it. It is all out PvP. There are no towns, there are no safe zones. The only thing safe is your home, except for when it's during raid hours. If you try to log out, your body is going to stay in the world forever. And then also, just like Conan, if you guys have played that, there's a way that you can summon a Manibus to help you fight and destroy other bases, which is pretty cool. So that's the basics. Now, one of the other things that's kind of cool about this is since you do not have any blueprints, the blueprints are actually in the Cradle Memetics. So inside here, you'll see if you jump into here, I've got Battle Bow, Desert Eagle. As you go down, you start to get them, MP7, AKMs. So this is how you learn all the different items here. I think this one is this. Nope, so that's just your standard. So this is all going to be in here. So this is where you're going to learn all of your weapons, all of your blueprints, and things like that to make your build. You start off, I think it was like at 100 or so of this, but you start to get more memory chips as you go through and you do things. So those memory chips are what you use to continue to unlock stuff. Now, again, if you die, you will lose everything. I think I kept my axe and that was basically it. So just keep in mind that this is pretty hardcore, but it does look like a lot of fun and it is pretty quick and it is based off of your hives. So the bigger the hive, the better the hive you get into, the more fun you'll probably have on this server dominating. But this is more of like your classic survival PvP game mode, and I think it's pretty awesome. So that's everything about the raid zone. So for those that are looking for a good PvP and they didn't like the way the other ones were, this is going to be great for you. So let's jump into the next thing. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is the Eternal Dream. So the Eternal Dream has 6 different phases, and these phases are not per a set amount of days. Essentially, it is how your server progresses by taking out the different dream things within the server. So the first thing I want to say is we do have access to the full map. So you can see I'm up here in the Way of the Winter Zone, but we also have all the way down here open. So let's talk about the Endless Dream a little bit, because this is a pretty cool scenario. This is the one that I'm jumping in and I'm playing the most. Again, this is a very difficult scenario. Everything is buffed up. All of the mobs that you fight are very tough. Maybe not tough as far as like hitting you back and whatnot, but they definitely have a lot more health, it feels like. The leveling feels much slower. So just be prepared when you go in that this is not going to be super easy. So if you're into a challenge, this is going to be great for you. So as you can see down here on the map, we have these different like little dream icons. And when we first started, this whole section had them. But as the server clears them out, then you will continue to progress. So that's essentially how you progress. So you can see, and they have different levels, like this one's level 15, these are level 31, and it'll kind of walk you through it. And then if I hit control, you can see like each one has a different thing. So this one has lightning, and lightning will continue to strike and it'll take you out. Strength, parasites, symbiosis, bubbly energy. So there's all types of different things that each one can have. And essentially these big ones here are buffed by like the little ones. So the goal is usually you would come in, you try to take out the little nightmares, and then once you take out the little nightmares, these bigger ones here, anything within its like range will make these weaker and easier to kill. So if you're going in with like your hive, then you would go through and you'd clear a bunch of these little ones and then you take out the big one. If you can coordinate the server, then a lot of times you can just go in and take out the big one and then you're good to go. So it depends on how many people you have, on what the strategy is going to be for that. Now, the first thing that they tell you when you get in is that you can only spend 15 minutes inside this dream zone. So this is level 15 dream zone. So if I were to go into here, I essentially have 15 minutes to start, do whatever I need to do before I get out. And then once I come out, that timer will begin to reset. So if I am in there for the full 15 minutes, I will die. So that's definitely not something I want to do. Whoops. And I did not go to where I needed to go. But anyway, so there are things that you can craft, and when you do kill some of the bigger enemies within here, you'll get different things that you can extend it an additional 15 minutes. So there are ways to get away from it. But essentially, once you see these little areas that I go in, you are now in the dream zone. Now, inside your chest that you get, and I would definitely recommend going and looting a bunch of shelters and getting some gear and stuff like that before you plan on taking this stuff on, because this is very difficult. But one of the things that you don't get anymore are the crystals when you go through. You'll have to get the crystals inside the dream zone, and one of the ways you can get them is from these things. So if you jump up, you can get them. You can actually build anywhere you want. So this is what you would technically do. And I need some gravel, so I'm going to run over here, get some gravel. Come on, I'm in a build. Boom. So what you'd have to do is essentially go like this, set one up, and then here, come close. And then now I'm going to take it, and you can see I got the crystal. And that's how you get crystal. You're going to need that to get gear. The other thing that you're going to need is, as you go through, you may see these like kind of white footprints on the ground. And if you see the white footprints and you follow them and then you shoot ahead, you'll find a morphic crate. And the morphic crates are going to give you sand. So if you're wondering where to get the sand, and then once you have the sand, you come to these things and you can put in 50 sand. So if I were to do this, and I'm going to waste my sand just to show you guys, it basically starts a bubble, and then from in here, you're going to have a bunch of mobs, and you're going to have waves of mobs, and then you'll have to destroy and kill all those waves, and then once you've done it, you will have defeated the nightmare. And again, this is best done with other people. So basically that's the gist. The only other thing to know about this is some of the silos, they're going to be locked down for you until you complete the omens here to kill them and remove the dreams from around it. Your server will not be able to do any of that stuff. So that's basically how the Eternal Dream works. Your server is going to destroy all of this stuff. If there's any type of like silos or monoliths or stuff and they're locked because they're in a dream zone, you just have to basically clear out the dream zone. For the silos, you'll have to clear out the omens, which are bigger. So again, you'll probably want to clear out the stuff there. And then as you guys continue to clear out your entire map, the Endless Dream will continue to go through its phases, and then you'll get a different ending, I guess, depending on how well your server does, and then you'll also get different rewards. But this is, again, I think it's pretty hard, and it does take a lot of coordination. So if you're looking for a PvE scenario that's more difficult, that requires a lot of teamwork, then this is the one that you want to do. If you're looking for just like solo play and you're not interested in working with others, then you may still want to stick with the Manibus and try out the new Visional Wheel Starfall Invasion that's there. So that's it for today. Thanks everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be doing a lot more content as they continue to bring out a bunch of new stuff. Sorry we had a little bit of a time off in between while we were waiting for it, but the roadmap has a ton of stuff coming up, so I'm really excited for it. Now that the mobile is finally launched, I think they're going to start to refocus on this, and we'll get a bunch of stuff. So still a great game. Lots of new stuff. If you haven't played for a while, definitely the time to jump back in. And hopefully I'll see you all in the dream world. Thanks.